Hi, Dr. Nicola here with Pura Vida, and I wanted to hop on because I've had a couple of people that I'm working with that have inflammation going on in their body. And so, of course, we talk about diet and movement and breath and sleep and all of these beautiful things. And there's one key ingredient, kind of like my secret ingredient that I've been offering that seems to really be landing with folks, and that is the ingredient of compassion. And it's not something that we associate with inflammation or helping the body to manage inflammation very well, but let me explain what the connection is here. So as we've talked about many times, if you've been watching my videos, that inflammation is actually driven by cortisol. So we know cortisol from hydrocortisone or corticosteroids. So cortisol is a big anti-inflammatory compound in the body, but we also use it physiologically as well. But cortisol has two main roles in the body. It manages inflammation, but it also manages our stress pathway, our fight, flight, or freeze response. So when we are going down that fight, flight, or freeze response, we use up cortisol that could otherwise be used to manage inflammation. So when we are stressed out about something, so for my latest client today, she was, there were some big stressors that have been coming up for her. A client that I talked to last month, same thing. He was dealing with family and friends that are dealing with chronic disease and illness and aging. Aging seems to be a big topic. Maybe we can talk about that sometime. But what was happening is their systems were getting triggered. And so when we can invite in compassion from the heart, so compassion is different than empathy. Empathy or sympathy is, oh, I feel bad for you. Compassion is, I see what's here. I don't wish for it to be different. And I call in the highest good, or I remember that this, whatever this is here for the highest good of all. And so when we can show up with compassion for someone else, for ourselves, for a situation, what we are doing is we are shifting out of that mind that, I have to figure this out. I have to come up with a solution. I have to change this. I have to do it different. All of the things that our mind does, that triggers an inflammatory response because it gets our nervous system activated. So when we can move into compassion, it frees us from all of those habits, thoughts, and patterns that we might be carrying that will have us stuck in a loop of what we maybe have done many times before. That includes self-criticism, self-doubt, those sort of things. And so when we can feel into compassion, and when I've offered this to some of the clients I'm working with, it's like a light bulb goes off of like, oh, you mean I don't have to manage this? I don't have to convince somebody that they should be doing it differently. And I can watch their whole being relax. And so when our whole being relaxes, we are now back in the parasympathetic part of our nervous system. And so we have more cortisol to appropriately manage inflammation, which, as we know at this point, we hear about it all the time, is really at the root of any chronic or acute illness or a disease. So this is your secret ingredient that maybe if you started accessing compassion and just really like, wow, this is a hard situation, or that was a difficult moment, or I'm willing to meet you or myself in this moment, in this pain, in this difficultness, even though this may not be what I would choose to, or how I would choose to approach this situation, I see this is what you're choosing, and I'm going to show up. I'm going to engage. I'm going to stay present, not only to you, but to myself and what this might bring up for me. So give it a try. Notice if you drop into compassion, again, for self or other, and you allow yourself to come from a place of understanding rather than I would do this differently and therefore I need to get upset about it, I need to jump in, I need to tell you how I would do it differently, or I need to fret about it. When we move into I see that this is what you're choosing and I trust that you're choosing this for your highest good, and again, this could be talking to yourself or somebody else, that will actually shift your physiology and drop pain, increase sleep quality, soothe digestion, lower blood pressure, regulate blood sugar, decrease inflammation in the joints and the body as a whole. And decrease the propensity for autoimmune response where we're attacking ourselves, right? So this is based in physiology, this is based in science, but this is the meeting of the heart and the mind. This is where we can really step in and start using our quest or our pathway to health and healing as a journey home to ourselves. If you have questions about this, or if you want to dive in a little deeper, I'd love to chat with you. Send me a message and we'll connect. Okay, looking forward to talking to you next time. Thanks for being here. Bye-bye.